Hello everyone. Before we jump into today's story, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. And don't forget to leave a comment telling me where you're watching from and what time it is right now, because that way, YouTube will keep showing you more stories just like this one. Alright, sit back, relax, turn down the lights if you dare. And now, let's begin. The first time I heard his voice on the radio, I was sitting alone in my cruiser, engine off, windows fogged, trying to stop my hands from shaking. It was 3:12 a.m., shift had been quiet, except for the pounding in my chest that hadn't stopped since. Morales died 2 nights ago. And then, Unit 47 requesting backup. Northbound on Route 16. Suspect vehicle just turned off onto the service road. My breath hitched. The voice was clear, calm, his voice. I grabbed the receiver. Dispatch, repeat last call. Who's requesting backup? There was static. Then a pause. -4 to 7, dispatch said. No units are flagged active on Route 16, all clear. I didn't answer. My fingers hovered over the radio waiting, hoping I'd imagined it, but I knew that call, word for word, because I was on the other end of it when Morales made it. The night he died. Morales was my partner for almost 4 years. We were both night shift guys, not by choice, just the unlucky rotation. He hated it less than I did. Said the city whispered different after midnight, like it was hiding something. That night, we were supposed to patrol together, but I called in sick. Morales went solo. He spotted a stolen Civic on Route 16, gave chase, and reported the suspect taking the sharp right onto him. The old service road that cuts through the woods. His cruiser was found upside down, in a drainage ditch 40 minutes later. No skid marks. No sign of pursuit. Just bent metal and blood. Morales was still strapped in, neck broken. Instant death, they said. But his radio was crushed. And now 2 nights later, that exact transmission had played again. I tried to convince myself it was a glitch. Maybe an old recording bouncing through the system, tech stuff way above my pay grade. But the next night, it happened again, 3:12 a.m. on the dot. Unit 47 requesting backup. Northbound on Route 16. Same tone, same urgency, same voice. And dispatch, again, claimed nothing came through. Said my channel was silent. They were starting to look at me sideways, asking if I'd taken my meds, if I was sleeping. I started to dread the silence before it hit 3:12. That weird, pressurized kind of silence, like the world was holding its breath. So the third night, I drove straight to the crash site. The service road isn't even a road anymore, just a thin scar in the woods. Overgrown and gravel soft, trees lean in too close on both sides. No lights, no cameras, no signals. But at 3:10, I parked at the spot where his cruiser had flipped. Engine off. Radio on. It was so quiet. I could hear the creak of the dashboard settling and the pop of distant branches. Then, Unit 47 requesting backup. I yanked the receiver. Morales? Is that you? Nothing. Morales, what's your location? Are you? The channel cut to white noise. Then silenced. My breath was fogging the windshield. Hands trembling. I looked around, headlights off. Only the dome light casting this faint red glow across the cab. That's when I noticed the cruiser. About 100 yards up the trail. No lights, but definitely there. Parked sideways. Familiar profile. I grabbed my flashlight, heart hammering, and got out. The cold hit instantly. Wet and sharp. Smelled like mud, pine needles, and something sour underneath it all. Like metal and mildew. I crept up slowly. Crunch, crunch. Every step made my spine tighten. The cruiser looked just like his. Unit 47. Same busted tail light. Same sticker half peeled on the bumper. I walked to the driver's side and raised My light, the seat was empty, but the engine was running. I didn't sleep when I got home. Just sat on the couch in full uniform, staring at my muted TV while the morning sun turned everything blue. I didn't tell anyone. Who would believe me? I checked with dispatch again. No record of the transmission. No cruisers registered as active in that area. No one else reported seeing anything. They started suggesting time off, evaluation, maybe. Grief was hitting harder than I thought, but I knew what I saw. And more importantly, I knew what I heard. Night 5, I didn't go back to the site. I stayed on regular patrol, stuck to the neighborhoods. At 3:12 a.m. I turned my radio off, but the voice came through anyway. Not through the radio, from the back seat. Just behind my left ear, low and gravelly, requesting backup. He's still out there. I swerved, nearly slammed into a mailbox. Threw the door open, scrambled out, gun drawn. No one was in the car. Nothing but my own echoes coming back at me. I should have walked away, taken the time off, left it alone, but I couldn't. I had to know. So night 6, I went back. One more time. Brought a body cam and set my phone to record audio. I wanted proof, or at least to convince myself that I wasn't losing it. Same spot. 3:10 a.m. I killed the engine. Let the cold creep in. 3:12 hit. Unit 47 requesting backup. This time it didn't stop. The voice kept going. Pursuing on foot. I see him. He's heading toward the tower. He's fast, Jesus, he's fast. The radio whined with feedback. Then, a new voice. Not Morales, raspy, distant, distorted, like it was being choked through bad wiring. You shouldn't have followed. My flashlight died. My phone screen glitched and shut off, and up the trail. Deeper into the trees, the cruiser's headlights flicked on. No one in the driver's seat. Just on. Like someone had been waiting for me to come back. The headlights were pointed straight at me, bright enough that the trees behind me threw long, twitching shadows across the ground. I should have backed up. Called it in. Done literally anything except what I did next. I walked toward the cruiser. Not fast, careful, like I was afraid the lights would blink out if I moved too quick. My boots sank into the wet leaves, and I kept my hand on my holster, but it didn't feel like any gun I carried would matter. The air got colder with every step. No wind, no bugs, no night sounds at all. Just the electric buzz of those headlights and my own breathing getting sharper. Morales? I whispered. I don't know why. Maybe I still wanted it to be him. The cruiser's engine wasn't running this time. It was completely silent. Just lights. On an empty road. In the middle of the woods, I reached the driver's side door and saw nothing, same as the night before. Empty seat. Gear untouched. Dashboard dead. But when I looked closer, something was different. There were wet footprints on the inside of the windshield. Human footprints. Bare. Like someone had pressed their feet against the glass from the inside. My stomach dropped. I staggered back a step, hit the side mirror, and the door lock suddenly clicked open on its own. The dome light flickered, and the radio, the dead radio, crackled. 4 to 7. Don't let him get near the tower. It was Morales. But quieter this time, weak, like he wasn't talking to me, but through something. I swallowed hard. Where are you? Tell me where you are. Static swelled. A pop, then. Not me. The dome light snapped off, and behind me, deep in the trees, something moved. Not footsteps, heavier. Like someone dragging a soaked blanket through the brush. Slow. Deliberate. Coming closer. I aimed my flashlight in that direction. It was barely working, just a thin, dying beam, shaking with my hand. Hello? The sound stopped. Everything went dead quiet again. Then, a single twig snapped. I backed toward the cruiser, keeping the light ahead of me. My chest felt too tight. My legs wanted to run, but running in the woods at night isn't smart when something already knows where you are. That's when I saw it, a shape, standing between the trees, just tall enough to catch the weak reflection of my light off its eyes. Not glowing, just reflective like an animal's caught in headlights. But these eyes were too high, too still, and too human. My voice cracked. Identify yourself. No movement. The radio hissed again. Morale's voice surged through the static, desperate this time. Get back in the cruiser. I didn't think. I dove in, slammed the door, hit the locks. The headlights shut off instantly. Total blackness swallowed the woods. I scrambled for the keys, but there were none. The ignition was empty. Something pressed against the driver's side window. A hand. Long fingers sliding down the glass, leaving a smear that looked too dark to be water. I froze. Couldn't breathe. Then bang. The whole cruiser shook. Bang. Bang. Like something ramming the trunk or slamming the back bumper. The glass trembled. The metal groaned. I reached for the radio with shaking hands. Dispatch, this is 4 to 7. I need. Static tore through the speakers. Then that other voice came through again. Not Morales. Not human, you came alone. My heart felt like it jumped into my throat. I dropped the mic. The banging stopped. Silenced. For 10 whole seconds. I didn't move a muscle. Not even to blink. Then the headlights flickered back on. But now they were aimed deep into the trees. Not toward the road. Like the cruiser wanted me to see something. And I did. Someone was standing at the edge of the light. A silhouette. Slumped. Still. As the beam sharpened, I recognized the uniform. The posture. The broad shoulders I used to mock him about. Morales? He didn't move. Didn't react. Just stood there, head tilted slightly, like he wasn't sure how to hold it up anymore. My throat closed. My eyes burned. I opened the door before I could talk myself out of it. The second my boot hit the ground, a wave of warmth hit my face, like stepping into a room with a heater blasting. But it was wrong. The woods were freezing. Morales. I said again, stepping closer. He stood just outside the spill of light now. Enough for me to see more details. Dark stains down the front of his uniform, dirt matted into his hair, hands hanging too low at his sides like his joints weren't working right. I reached out. Buddy, if that's you, you need to. He lifted his head, and I swear to God, I saw his lips move. No sound at first. Just the shape of the words. Run. Then the woods behind him peeled open. I don't know how else to describe it. Like something huge moved between the trees, pushing them aside without touching them. A shadow taller than any person. Unsteady. Wrong. It made no sound. Morales collapsed forward like a puppet with cut strings. And that was all I needed. I bolted toward my cruiser. Slipped on the wet ground, scrambled up, dove in, and slammed the door so hard the frame rattled. I tried the ignition even though there were no keys. The engine roared to life anyway. I floored it. Didn't look back. Not once. Branches whipped the sides of the car as I tore down the service road. The radio kept spitting static, then words. Then static again, all of it overlapping, too fast to make sense. Except for one sentence that came through crystal clear as I hit the main road. He wasn't supposed to call you. I drove until sunrise. Didn't stop at the station. Didn't stop at home. I parked in a grocery store lot and threw up on the asphalt. That was 3 months ago. I quit the force 2 weeks later. Couldn't explain why without sounding insane. I still hear things sometimes. Static when my phone loses signal. Voices when I'm half asleep. A soft tapping on my car window at night when I park too close to the woods. But the part I can't shake, the part that keeps me up until dawn most nights, is what happened yesterday. My old radio, the one from my cruiser, showed up on my doorstep. No box. No note. Just dirt smeared across the speaker grill, and when I picked it up, It clicked on by itself. Morale's voice came through, weak and broken, but definitely him. 4 to 7. Don't answer him next time. Before I could drop it, another voice cut in, that same distorted one from the woods. Calm, patient, like he had all the time in the world. You're still on my channel. The line went dead, and I'm sitting here now, writing this, praying that when the clock hits 3:12 a.m., I won't hear that static again, but I can already feel the air getting colder. Too still. Too heavy. Like something is waiting. Like he knows I'm listening. The front door was already open when I got there. That was the first red flag. Not cracked, not ajar, just open, like someone had been waiting. Like they wanted me to come in. I left my cruiser running and stepped onto the porch. The night air was still and wet, smelled like damp leaves and something faintly sour, like spoiled milk. My boots creaked on the rotting wood. Dispatch, this is 2 to 6. I said into the mic clipped to my shoulder. I've arrived on scene, Sycamore Lane, 911 hang-up call. Doors open. No sign of anyone out front. Copy that, 2 to 6, dispatch replied. No further calls from that address. Proceed with caution. I already was. It was an old house. 2 stories, brick chimney, sagging roof. Windows covered in yellowed lace curtains. Porch swing half detached, swaying slightly, even though there was no wind. I drew my flashlight, pushed the door fully open with my knuckles, and stepped inside. It was too quiet. No television. No footsteps, no creaking floorboards overhead. Just the sound of my own breath, too loud in my ears. The house smelled old, like wood rot and dust and something warm, faint but cloying. I couldn't place it right away. I called out, "Police! Anyone home?" No response. My light swept across the living room. Plastic still on the furniture. Old family photos on the walls, yellowed at the edges, crooked in their frames. A dusty glass bowl of candy sat untouched on the coffee table. I stepped deeper in. The carpet sucked at my boots. Something was off, but not in the obvious ways. The house didn't feel abandoned. The air wasn't cold enough. There wasn't enough dust on the floor. The curtains looked freshly washed. Who the hell washes curtains in a house that looks like this? I passed into the kitchen. Linoleum floors. Faint trail of muddy footprints heading toward the back door, but only one set. Small. Barefoot. That's when I noticed it. The fridge had magnets. One of them was a cartoon cop. Another was a magnetized calendar, the kind you write on with dry erase. And on today's date, in red marker it said, "He comes tonight, 1:03 a.m. I checked my watch. 12:58 a.m. I froze. My skin prickled. I backed out of the kitchen slowly, hand resting on the grip of my sidearm. Something was wrong with this whole scene. Whoever lived here, if they still lived here. They weren't calling for help. They were waiting for someone, or something. And I had walked right into it. I started to key my mic again when I heard it. A soft creak upstairs. 1 step. Then 2. I looked up and saw the shadow move across the landing, slow, careful, like someone didn't want to be noticed. I backed up toward the front door. My voice came out low. "Dispatch, I've got movement inside the residence. Suspected intruder on the 2nd floor. Requesting backup." Copy, 2 to 6. Nearest unit is 10 minutes out. 10 minutes. I didn't want to go up those stairs. Every instinct in me said to wait. Hold the door. Let backup do their job. But then I heard it, a voice. Small, fragile. "Help me." Female. Maybe a teenager. It came from upstairs. I swore under my breath, pulled my weapon, and began up the steps, one slow tread at a time. Each board groaned under my weight. When I reached the top, the hallway was dark. My flashlight flicked and buzzed, batteries dying. Of course, and the smell hit harder up here. That warm, sour smell. It was coming from the room at the end of the hall. Door cracked just a little. Light on, I crept toward it. Every hair on my arm stood up. I pushed the door open with the barrel of my weapon. And stopped. The room was a child's bedroom. Neat, clean, walls painted soft pink. Stuffed animals lined up on a shelf, bed made with precision. And sitting in the corner, facing the wall, was a girl, dark hair, pale skin, wearing a yellow dress. She didn't move when I entered. Didn't turn around. "Hey," I said softly. "You called 911? No response. I stepped closer, careful not to spook her. My boots left faint prints in the carpet. As I approached, I noticed something strange. The stuffed animals were all facing the wall too, like they'd been turned around. Or like they were being punished. My voice shook. "Are you okay?" She finally turned her head. And her face. She looked exactly like the girl from the framed photo I saw downstairs. The one from 30 years ago. Same face. Same eyes. Same yellow dress. I took a step back, heart slamming. She whispered something I didn't understand. "What was that?" I asked. This time I heard her. "He's already inside." Suddenly, all the lights in the house shut off at once. I heard the front door slam, the sound of heavy footsteps downstairs, and then the radio on my shoulder hissed. A man's voice, gravelly, almost playful, came through. "Officer down." But I hadn't said a word. I tried to key my mic. Nothing. Dead static. The girl was gone. The corner was empty. I stumbled back into the hall, weapon drawn, flashlight barely working. Shadows seemed to move just out of reach. I turned to go back down the stairs, but the staircase wasn't there anymore. Just a wall. A solid, painted wall where the stairs should have been. I spun around, heart pounding in my throat. My flashlight flickered one final time. And then I saw someone else at the other end of the hallway. Not the girl, not a person, something tall. Standing too still. Its face looked blurry, like static on a TV, and it was getting closer, one step at a time. I don't remember drawing my gun again. It was just in my hands, like my body moved before my mind could catch up. The hallway stretched and groaned under some weight I couldn't see. And that thing at the end of it, the tall figure with the static blurred face, it just stood there, watching. Or I think it was watching. It had no eyes. Just this shifting, pixelated mess where a face should have been. Like something trying to wear a face but not doing it right. It took a step. The floorboards didn't creak under it. No sound. Just movement. One step, then another, and another. I turned and ran toward the nearest door. Shouldered it open. A bathroom. Tiny, claustrophobic. Tiles cracked. Medicine cabinet door hanging open. Mirror missing. I slammed the door shut behind me and held it with my back, panting hard. I didn't hear footsteps, but I felt it. That pressure in the air. That awful vibrating wrongness, like the whole house was leaning toward me, breathing with something it wasn't supposed to have. My radio crackled again, not static this time. A voice, mine, "Officer down. Sycamore Lane, he's inside. The audio cut off. I hadn't said that. I hadn't transmitted anything. I backed away from the door, hand still on my weapon. My other hand went to my phone. It was dead. Not just no service, black screen, fully drained. My flashlight flicked once, then died. Darkness swallowed the bathroom. The only sound was the hum in my ears and my heart beating way too loud. I stayed there, frozen, for I don't know how long. But when I finally opened the door again, the hallway was gone. It was a different hallway now, narrower, wallpaper peeling in strips. Lights dim and yellowed like a nursing home. My head spun. This wasn't upstairs. It wasn't anywhere I remembered from the house. I stepped out, slow, gun up. My boots echoed now, a hollow sound, like I was walking on something that didn't want to be stepped on, and down the hall. I heard the soft tick 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 of a clock dot, and then her voice, the girl. Not scared this time, singing a nursery rhyme I didn't know, but it felt old. Older than the house. I followed the sound. I couldn't help it. It was like my body was being pulled. The hallway twisted. Turned. I passed doors that opened just a crack when I walked by. I didn't dare look in. And then I stepped into her room again. Same pink walls. Same toys. Same perfectly made bed. She was sitting on the floor this time. Facing me, holding a stuffed bear, whispering to it. "Hey," I said quietly. She didn't look up. Just whispered, "He likes when they stay." I crouched slowly. "Who?" She finally met my eyes and whispered, "You're already in the house." Something moved in the hallway behind me. Fast, a blur of black. I spun around, nothing, turned back, she was gone. Again, just the bear sitting there. Head tilted, staring up at me like it knew something. I was done. Done trying to solve whatever this was. Done playing along with whatever game this place was running. Turned and sprinted back the way I came. Except I couldn't find the hall. Or the bathroom. Or the stairs. The house shifted behind me. Every door I opened led to another hallway, another mirrorless bathroom. Another room full of wrong things. A dining room where all the chairs faced the walls. A bedroom with a clock that ticked backwards. A nursery with a crib. And something breathing under the blankets. No matter which way I turned, the layout kept changing. I wasn't in a house anymore. I was in a loop. A trap. At some point, I hit a dead end. Just a blank wall with cracked wallpaper and an old rotary phone mounted to it. It started ringing. That sound, shrill and sharp, cutting through the silence like a scream. Let it ring 5 times. Then picked it up. And a voice on the other end said, "You should have stayed in your car." I don't remember what happened after that. Not clearly. There's flashes, running. A door that led outside but opened into another hallway. At one point, I think I saw myself, standing at the top of the stairs, looking down at me. I fired my gun. The sound was swallowed by the house. No blood. No body. And then, just like that, I was back in the living room. The front door was wide open again. Sunlight streamed through it. Birds chirping, like none of it had happened. I staggered out to my cruiser. It was still running. Clock said 7:03 a.m. Dispatch was screaming in my ear. 2 to 6, do you copy? Officer, where the hell have you been? Backup's been at the scene for hours. What's your status? I couldn't answer. I looked back at the house. It was different. Run dash down. Windows broken. Overgrown yard. The kind of place that looked like no one had lived in it for years. But I swear behind the lace curtain of the top floor window, I saw the girl. Smiling. I quit a week later. Moved 2 towns over. But a few nights ago, I got a letter in the mail. No return address. Just a folded piece of lined paper inside. In red marker, "You forgot your shift." And last night, at exactly 1:03 a.m., my bedroom door creaked open by itself. I live alone. The trailer door was wide open when we pulled up. That's never a good sign. No porch light. No barking dog. Just a single yellow bulb buzzing above the screen door, drawing in a cloud of moths. It was me and Rivera that night, my usual partner. We'd been called to a domestic disturbance just after 2 a.m. out near the edge of town, past the gas station and into the woods. The 911 call came from a landline. Woman whispering. Then the line cut. No name, no details. Just, "He's in the house." We parked, killed the engine, and sat for a second, listening. Nothing, not even crickets. "I'll take left," Rivera said, popping his door. I nodded and circled right. We moved in slow. Nothing fancy, just textbook procedure. Except when I got to the door. It was already swinging slightly in the breeze, and the house was dead silent. I called it in. "Dispatch." This is Unit 3 to 4. Arrived on scene. Front door open. No movement inside. Proceeding to clear. They gave the go-ahead. No backup available. Other units were 20 minutes out. We stepped inside. Trailer smelled like old cigarettes. Cat piss and something else. That same sour metallic stench I'd smelled at suicide scenes. The lights were on, but dim. That low yellow kind of glow that makes shadows feel thicker than they should. Kitchen to the left. Tiny hallway ahead. Living room empty but cluttered. Piles of laundry, ashtrays, dishes stacked high. Police, I called out. Anyone here? No answer. Rivera nodded to the hallway. I moved forward, weapon drawn, slow steps. That's when I heard it. This soft, wet tapping noise. Not footsteps, more like fingertips against tile. I turned toward the bathroom door. It was half shut. The sound was coming from behind it. Ma'am? It's the police. Are you hurt? Still no reply. Rivera motioned for me to cover while he opened the door. He turned the knob slowly and pushed it. Open-empty. Bathroom was spotless actually. Too clean. No toothbrushes, no towels, no products on the sink, just a running faucet. Cold water. And a pair of handprints on the mirror, smudged and streaked down like someone slid down it, crying. Rivera looked at me. This feel weird to you? Yeah, I said. Real weird. We cleared the rest of the trailer. 2 bedrooms. One with a bare mattress and a single lamp, the other locked from the inside. I knocked on the door. Police, we need to make sure you're okay. Please open the door. Silence, then a whisper, so soft I almost missed it. Don't let him back in. I looked at Rivera. His face had gone pale. You hear that? I asked. He nodded. Get it open. I stepped back, braced, and kicked the door just above the knob. It cracked open on the second hit. We swept in fast. And found nothing. Room was completely empty. No furniture. No windows. Just 4 walls, wooden floors, and a single radio in the middle of the room. An old handheld police radio. Our kind. It wasn't plugged in. No batteries, but it clicked on. And through the static we both heard it. He's behind you. I spun around. Nothing. Rivera's gun was up. His breathing had gone short. Dispatch, this is 3 to 4, he said, voice tight. Requesting immediate backup. Possible intruder on site. Something's not right here. They didn't respond. Just a long wall of static. Then, a voice. Not dispatch. Not one I recognized. Raspy. Smiling. No one's coming. We bailed out of that room. Something was wrong with that trailer. Worse than a domestic. Worse than a crime scene. It felt like the house was listening. Rivera grabbed my arm. We need to go, now. We turned back down the hall, and it wasn't the same hallway. The kitchen was gone. Now it led to a basement we hadn't seen before. Narrow steps. Concrete walls. We hadn't passed that coming in. I turned back to the door we'd just come from. It was gone. Replaced by more hallway. What the hell? Rivera muttered. The air turned cold. My breath came out in fog. We stood at the top of the stairs, trying to figure out if we were losing our minds when we heard it again. That voice, right behind us. Double quotes, split up. I turned to Rivera. Don't. But he was already moving, down the stairs. Gun raised, and I never saw him again. I called his name. Over and over. No answer. Just silence, stretching on and on. Finally, I followed. I had to. He was my partner. The stairs groaned under me. Each step felt longer than it should have. My flashlight flickered. The basement opened up into a wide, unfinished space. Dirt floor. Low ceiling. And on the far wall, a mirror. Just standing there. Full length. Antique. No. Reflection. Just black. Like looking through a window into a place without light. Rivera? I called. Something moved across the mirror. A shape. It looked like him. Same posture. Same badge. But it wasn't moving like him. Too stiff. Too slow. It walked toward the glass from the inside. I aimed my gun. Stop. Show me your hands. The figure stopped. Tilted its head. Then it smiled, not Rivera's smile, wider. Wrong. I stumbled back. My boot caught on something. I looked down. A second radio. Same make. Same model. Covered in dirt. It clicked on. Rivera's voice. Breathy. Broken. He's wearing me. I didn't move. Didn't breathe. I just stood there, staring at the radio in my hand. Rivera's voice, if that was still his voice, crackled out again. He's wearing me. Don't let him leave. My hands were shaking so bad the radio nearly slipped. I looked back toward the mirror. The figure was gone. Just empty glass now. But the black wasn't glass anymore. It was liquid looking, like ink hovering in a frame. I stepped closer. Not because I wanted to. I just had to know what was inside there, what I'd followed him into. But just before I reached it, I heard a footstep behind me. I turned fast. Gun up. And there he was. Rivera. Standing in the middle of the basement. Uniform perfect. Not a speck of dust on him. Face blank. Too blank. I didn't lower my gun. Where the hell were you? I asked. He tilted his head, just slightly. Lost signal. Place is a maze. His voice was calm. Like too calm. Like he was rehearsing it. You went downstairs before I could stop you. I kept my aim tight. You didn't answer when I called. I heard you, he said. I was behind you the whole time. No, he wasn't. I heard you on the radio, I said. You said he was wearing you. His mouth twitched. Like it wanted to smile but didn't know. How? I didn't say that. He stepped forward, and I stepped back. My gun never wavered. I want you to stop right there and repeat your badge. Number. Silence. I said it louder. Your badge number. Right now. He stared at me. Blinked once. Then slowly raised one hand and began tapping the number out with his fingers, like a child counting on one hand. Wrong sequence. Wrong rhythm. I backed up toward the stairs. He took another step. I clicked my mic. Dispatch, I have a potential imposter at the scene. Possibly armed. Backup required immediately. All I got was static, then a voice that was not dispatch. Too late. You let him out. The lights overhead flickered. When I looked back, Rivera was gone. I ran, didn't even think. I bolted back up the stairs, 2 at a time, slammed into a door that hadn't been there before. I forced it open. And suddenly I was outside. The sun was rising. My cruiser was right in front of me. Like I'd never gone inside. I looked back. The trailer was still there. Still quiet. Doors still hanging open, just like before, like time had rewound. Or reset. I staggered to my cruiser. Tried the radio again. It worked. Dispatch, this is Unit 3 to 4. I need backup now. Officer Rivera is missing. Last known location, 520 Sycamore Ridge. Repeat, officer down. They responded immediately. Copy, 3 to 4. Backup en route. 8 to 7 minutes. I sat in the car, trying not to throw up, trying not to look at the front door. But then, the passenger door opened, and Rivera got in. I flinched so hard I nearly unholstered again. Easy, he said. It's me. His voice sounded normal. Too normal. How did you get out? I asked, same way you did. Found a door. He buckled in. You okay? I stared at him. What's your wife's name? He blinked. Seriously? I kept my voice low, steady. What's your wife's name? Sam, he said. You know that. Wrong. Her name's Elena. He smiled slowly. Like he'd been caught. I knew I'd slip eventually. He whispered. I reached for my sidearm. He was already gone. Just the empty seat beside me. Still warm. Backup. Arrived 5 minutes later. 2 cruisers. Full team. They searched the trailer top to bottom. Found nothing. No basement. No mirror. No radio. No signs of Rivera. The report says he disappeared during a call. Declared missing in the line of duty. Case open. No leads, but 2 nights ago. My radio went off while I was home. Middle of the night. No transmission. Just static, then Rivera's voice, clear. He's still wearing me. He's with you now. I ripped the battery out of the radio. Didn't matter. The voice came through my phone next. Let me in. I don't go near mirrors now. I cover them, because the last time I looked, just for a second, I saw him standing behind me. Smiling. Wearing my face. I didn't think much of the guy at first. He wasn't shouting, wasn't bleeding, wasn't high. Just standing there calmly outside the 24-hour liquor store on 9th and Jefferson. Hands in his pockets like he was waiting for an Uber. The clerk had called us, because the man had been standing there for 3 hours. Not loitering exactly, just waiting, watching. It was almost 2 a.m. when we pulled up. I got out first. It was me and Vasquez that night. Another routine graveyard shift. Hey buddy, I called, walking toward him. Everything all right? He turned slowly. Pale guy. Late 40s maybe. Thin lips, glassy eyes. Wearing a gray hoodie with nothing underneath, no wallet, no phone in his hand. He smiled. Not friendly. Just the kind of smile that shows teeth, not emotion. I've been waiting, he said. For what? He shrugged. For you. I paused. Something about the way he said it, flat, emotionless. Like it wasn't even me he meant, put a chill in my spine. Vasquez stepped up beside me. Hand hovering near her holster. Let's see some ID, I said. I don't have one, he said. Still smiling. But I can come with you. We looked at each other. Vasquez muttered, let's bring him in. Something's off. I agreed. No charges, but we weren't leaving him there all night. He didn't resist, didn't flinch. Just let us cuff him without saying a word. And as we walked him to the cruiser, he said one thing, soft, like he was talking to himself. This is where I stopped being him. Back at the station, we booked him. No name, no ID, no record. He didn't speak again. Tried fingerprinting him. Scanner couldn't pick anything up. Literally nothing. No ridges, no whorls. Just blank skin. We checked for scars, acid burns, deformities, but his hands were clean. Too clean. Like he'd never used them for anything in his entire life. Vasquez joked. Maybe he's a spy. But nobody laughed. Because something about him, the way he watched us without blinking, made it hard to be funny around him. I sat across from him in the interview room for 45 minutes. He didn't say a word, just smiled. At one point I asked him, why were you out there? He looked me dead in the eye and said, to wait for my reflection to arrive. That's when I stood up and ended the interview. We put him in holding overnight, but about an hour later, I came back from filing paperwork and saw something on the monitor. That made my blood run cold. His cell was empty. Door still locked. No sign of tampering. He was just gone, I thought. Maybe he slipped by me somehow. Checked the logs. Checked the cameras. That's when it got worse. Because the camera in the hallway showed him still. Inside the room, sitting still. 10 minutes. After we'd already found it empty. The feed was behind real time. But only for his cell. Like someone had spliced in a delay. But our systems, closed loop, that's not possible. Vasquez and I tore the place apart. No exits. No vents, no hiding places. But we kept checking the footage. Watching that same moment over and over. Him sitting there, calm, still. And then standing up. Walking to the wall. And stepping into it. Not disappearing. Not glitching. Just. Slipping forward like the wall wasn't even solid. And then he was gone. The footage ended. We didn't tell anyone. We filed it as a data error. What were we supposed to say? That a man with no name, no prints, and no record disappeared through a wall on live surveillance? We started to convince ourselves it didn't happen. That maybe we were just tired, hallucinating, grieving something we didn't want to admit. Until 3 nights later. Another call. Different part of town. Abandoned strip mall off Route 8. Someone had reported a man standing inside the fenced lot. Not doing anything. Just watching. We rolled up around 1:45 a.m. Same man. Same hoodie, same blank smile. But here's the thing. He looked younger, like 5 or 6 years younger. Cleaner skin. Different teeth, but I knew it was him. Vasquez did too. I could see it in her face. I got out, hand on my holster. Stay where you are. He didn't move. He just said, I'm almost done being him too. Then he turned and walked backward into the wall behind him, like it wasn't there. Again. We searched the whole building, nothing, but taped to the back of the window where he disappeared was a single piece of paper. Photocopied photo, black and white. Low quality. It was a mugshot of me, except it wasn't quite me. The eyes were wrong. The smile was off. Like someone trying to recreate my face but missing the details. On the back, in red marker it said, he chose well. After that night at the strip mall, I stopped sleeping. Not just because I was scared though. Yeah, I was, but because every time I closed my eyes, I'd see my own face, not in a dream. Just there, inches from mine, smiling, like he was waiting for me to forget what I looked like, so he could replace it. I kept the photocopy, showed it to our internal affairs guy. He said I was overworked. Maybe someone was messing with me. Vasquez backed me up. Said she'd seen it too, but the more we talked about it, the more the people around us started acting off. Not hostile, just wrong. I'd walk past officers I'd known for years, and they'd look at me like they were trying to remember me. One of them even asked, "You're still working nights?" "I've always worked nights." He shook his head like he didn't believe me. That same week, Vasquez stopped showing up. No call, no report. I went to her apartment myself. Her car was in the lot. Lights on inside. I knocked. Nothing. I called dispatch to request a welfare check. And the woman on the other end said, Vasquez transferred last month. No, she didn't. I worked a shift with her 4 days ago. But when I checked our shift logs, there were no entries under her name for the past 6 weeks, like she'd never come back after that night with the man outside the liquor store. That night, I got home around 3 a.m., took off my vest, and went to splash some water on my face. I looked in the mirror, and my reflection didn't move with me. Just for a second. It lagged. My hand went up, and then the mirror followed. I stepped back. The glass shimmered like heat on pavement. Then it smiled. I wasn't smiling. I took a week off. Told the captain I was burned out. Needed rest, but rest didn't help. I started getting messages, slips of paper under my door. Each one had the same thing written on it in red marker. You're a good fit. No prints on the paper. No handwriting match. Just left there, night after night. I bought cameras, motion detectors, extra locks. Didn't matter. They'd still show up. One night, I heard someone whispering behind my bedroom wall. I live in a detached house. I finally broke. Took the printout, the fake mugshot, and brought it to the off-the-books tech guy who owed me a favor. He scanned it, ran facial recognition. And got a match. Not to me. To a guy named Caleb Miles. Died in custody 13 years ago. Same precinct. Same jail. The reason I didn't recognize the name is because the file was buried under sealed incident. But the report said Caleb had been caught impersonating a police officer. Perfect uniform. Right gear, right badge number, but his fingerprints didn't match anyone. And when they tried to detain him, he vanished from holding. They thought it was a systems failure or a cover dash up. Same as what happened with our guy. I drove to the old precinct where it happened. It's just an admin building now. File storage. Empty. At night. I went down to the basement, to the archives. And I found the room, the old holding cell. There's no door anymore, just drywall where the cell entrance used to be, but the floor, the concrete was stained. Wide, dark marks. Something burned in, and on the wall, carved deep into the brick, was this: "Once I learn the shape, I get to keep it." I took pictures, sent them to Vasquez's number, got a reply right away, just one word: "Who is this?" That same night, back at my place, I turned off all the lights and covered every mirror. Didn't matter. At 2:41 a.m., I heard someone knock at the front door. 3 slow knocks, then a pause. Then my voice from the other side: "Hey, it's me. Let me in." I didn't move. "Come on," the voice said. "Don't be weird. You called me, remember?" I hadn't called anyone. He knocked again. "I just need a place to stay." Then quieter, like he was talking to himself. This is where I stopped being him. I stayed frozen behind the couch until sunrise, when I finally worked up the nerve to look outside. No one was there, but taped to the inside of my mailbox was another photo. It was a new mugshot. This time, it looked exactly like me. Perfect match, except the date printed on it said, "Tomorrow." We were the only car on the road that night. No taillights ahead of us, no headlights behind. Just our cruiser cutting through the mist with the windows cracked and the radio low. I was driving. Darnell rode shotgun. We weren't saying much. Just another quiet night shift in a nowhere part of town. Until the call came through. Possible vehicle hazard reported North Lake Road. Caller said there were flashing lights in the trees. No name, no details, just coordinates pinged from some burner phone that disconnected before dispatch could call back. Darnell sighed and looked at me. "You ever get one of these that wasn't just some kid screwing around with a drone?" I shook my head. "Not once. Let's go disappoint them again." Lake Road was always creepy after dark. No houses, no traffic, just narrow blacktops snaking through dense woods and running along the edge of Briar Lake. People drowned there every other year. Always ruled accidents. Always chalked up to alcohol or bad footing. But the locals had stories. Lights in the woods, voices under the water, cars that disappear. Darnell called it cop campfire crap. I used to laugh with him, but I wasn't laughing now, because as we turned onto Lake Road, the mist got thicker, heavier. And after half a mile, we saw them, flashing white lights deep in the trees. About 50 yards off the road, not steady, not headlights, they pulsed. Like a warning, I pulled over, cut the engine. We stepped out, radios crackling with interference. The air smelled like cold mud and algae, and something else. Burnt metal. Like wires had been fried. Maybe a downed drone? I said, shining my flashlight into the trees. Darnell didn't answer. He was already walking toward it. I caught up to him fast. "Hold up," I said. "Let's do this right." We moved together, flashlights scanning side to side, boots crunching through wet leaves and broken twigs. The lights kept flashing. Pulsing. No sound though. No humming, no buzzing. Just total silence except for our footsteps. And the deeper we got, the more wrong everything started to feel. The woods didn't smell right. The fog was too thick, and the lights, they weren't up in the trees like we thought. They were on the ground, just barely visible behind a thick row of brush. Darnell stopped. "That looked like a taillight to you?" I stepped closer. Wiped the mist off a curved metal surface. Then my heart stopped, because it was a taillight, and it was attached to an overturned cruiser. Same make, same model, same busted back fender. I leaned down, brushed mud off the door. Unit 321. That was Morales. Old unit. The guy who crashed here 6 years ago. We found him dead behind the wheel. Body crushed. Car totaled. They ruled it a freak accident. But this cruiser, it didn't look rusted. Didn't look like it had been sitting here for 6 years. The tires were still inflated. The headlights were still flickering. And the engine was warm. Darnell cursed under his breath. This doesn't make sense. It was towed. I remember the report. I nodded slowly. They even did a memorial right here. Planted a little cross. I looked around. The cross was gone. No flowers. No candles. Just this pristine, freshly wrecked vehicle in the exact same spot. I stepped closer and looked in through the shattered driver's window. There was blood on the airbag. And Morales badge on the floorboard, but no body. No bones. No dust, like the crash had just happened. Check this out, Darnell said behind me. I turned. He was standing a few feet away, shining his light on something in the mud. Footprints. 2 sets, barefoot, leading away from the crash. Fresh. No shoes, no socks, just feet. One set small, the other big. Wide stride. Not the kind of stride someone would have if they were injured or stumbling. They looked like they were walking calmly into the woods. We followed them. I know, stupid, but we had no choice. We're cops. When something like this happens, you check it out, even if your gut is already telling you to run. And mine was screaming. The woods got quieter. No birds, no wind. And then the sound of breathing somewhere off to our right, shallow, wet, like lungs that hadn't worked in a while. We stopped. Listen. It stopped too. Back to the car, I whispered. Darnell nodded. We turned around, and the cruiser was gone. No lights, no wreckage. Nothing. Just empty woods. We ran back to the road. Or tried to, but the trees kept shifting. I don't mean metaphorically. I mean literally. The trail we took to get there, the one we knew like the back of our hand, it wasn't the same. The brush was thicker, the slope steeper, and every flashlight sweep behind us showed nothing. Until it didn't, because when we looked back one last time, the cruiser was there. Again. Upright. Parked clean on the dirt trail. Lights on. Engine running. No damage, like nothing had ever happened. And someone was sitting in the driver's seat. Darnell raised his light. It flicked. Then caught the windshield, and we both saw his face. Morales. Mouth slightly open, eyes blank, but he was moving. Hand on the wheel, like he was still on patrol. I whispered. That's not possible, Darnell said. That's not him. And the second he said it, the headlights turned toward us. We ran, didn't stop to think, just ran straight through the woods, until the trees finally thinned and we hit the edge of the asphalt. My cruiser was still there, but the radio was on, and someone was talking through it, a voice I hadn't heard in years. Unit 321 requesting backup. Lost visual. Suspects entered the woods. It was Morales, making the same call he'd made the night he died. We stood in the middle of the road, sucking air, hearts pounding. And the radio kept going. Vehicles flipped. No sign of driver. Requesting immediate assistance. I repeat, officer down. Same words. Same voice. Same transmission. Morales made 6 years ago, except he was dead when that call went through. And now it was playing through my cruiser's radio. Darnell reached in, yanked the cord, didn't stop it. The radio wasn't even on anymore. And still, it buzzed, hissed. You should have stayed on the road. That wasn't Morales. We drove straight back to the station. No detours. No stops. Didn't speak a word. Until we were inside the lot with the lights of the precinct pouring over us like a spotlight. Only then did I realize something was wrong with Darnell. He wasn't moving. Right. Not limping or injured, just off, like he was trying too hard to seem normal. You good? I asked. He nodded, but too slow. I'm fine, he said. Just rattled. Same words Morales used to say after tough calls. Exact phrasing. Darnell never said rattled. I tried to brush it off. We filed the report, left out the parts we couldn't explain, which was most of it. We marked it as unfounded. Lights in the woods. No vehicle found. No injuries, but that night, I didn't go home. I sat in the station's back lot for over an hour, staring at the trees behind the fence, waiting for those lights to show up again. They didn't. But the cruiser. When I checked the logs, Unit 3-1 had been signed back into inventory. As if someone had brought it back. No note. No entry. Just listed. Assigned to a rotating patrol. But when I asked who had driven it, nobody could answer. Next shift, Darnell didn't show. No text. No call. I went by his apartment. Door was locked. Lights off. His car was there, but it wasn't his car anymore. Same make. Same model. But the interior was wrong. No trash in the coup folders. No dent in the side mirror, like it had been reset. Like someone was trying to rebuild what he left behind. I started digging, called Morales' sister. Asked her questions I shouldn't have. Turns out, the night Morales died, there were 2 reports of flashing lights on Lake Road. One logged at 2:04. A .m.1 logged 2 minutes after he was declared dead. Same voice. Same transmission. But she said something else. Something I can't get out of my head. She said, the week before Morales' crash, he had been acting weird. Said he saw someone standing in the lake, just offshore, staring at his cruiser. Not moving. Just waiting. That night, I drove back. Alone. I know. I shouldn't have. But I had to know. I had to see it for myself, in the daylight. Maybe so it would all feel less real. But even at noon, that road felt wrong. Still foggy. Still quiet. And at mile marker 17, right where Morales' crash happened, my cruiser died. No warning. Engine cut. Radio off. I sat there, listening to my own breathing, hand resting on the wheel. Then the air changed. Thicker. Still, and the radio came on, but not through the speakers, through the rear view mirror. I know that sounds insane. I know how it sounds, but it was clear, loud. You're late. I turned. Someone was standing behind the cruiser. Not walking. Not approaching. Just standing, face in shadow. Dressed in the same uniform I was wearing. Same badge. Same nameplate. He raised his hand, waved at me. Just once, then smiled, and I knew that wasn't me. Not yet. But soon. I kicked the door open, heart slamming, and ran. Didn't stop until I reached the lake. The fog was sitting heavy on the surface, low and unmoving, and there, about 30 feet out, I saw headlights under the water. Still on, still glowing. They said Morales died on impact, that the car sunk too fast to recover, but I don't think he ever left that car. Not really. I think it's still down there. And something, climbed out, wearing him. When I got back to the station, everything was off. The lights felt too dim. People stared too long. The sergeant asked if I'd been reassigned, like he didn't remember that I was on the active shift 2 days ago. And in the parking lot, there were 2 Unit 3-1 cruisers. Identical. Parked side by side. That night, I got a call on my personal phone. Unknown number. I answered. And Darnell's voice came through. Flat. Empty. I'm still on patrol. Then someone else spoke. Me. But not my voice. Just close enough. You're due for replacement. The first time she spoke to me, I thought it was just across channel. I was parked outside a closed gas station on Route 7, sipping burnt coffee and trying not to nod off, when the radio crackled, Unit 2 to 9. Do you copy? The voice was calm, warm, a woman's voice. I grabbed the mic. 2 to 9, go ahead. Static. Then. Are you alone tonight? I blinked. Say again? She didn single quotes D. Radio went dead. I sat there confused. Dispatch never asks stuff like that. Not like that. I called it in. Asked if anyone had radioed me. Dispatch confirmed. No outgoing calls to Unit 2 to 9. They told me maybe. I picked up spillover from another channel. Happens sometimes in rural stretches. I didn't think much of it. Until the next night. Same shift. Different spot. 1:04 a.m. The voice came back. You shouldn't be parked there. Just like that. No call sign. No confirmation. I grabbed the mic. Who is this? Silence. I asked dispatch again. They said nothing went out. Nothing came in, and now they were sounding annoyed. Told me to get my radio checked. I did. Came back clean, and still. Every night after 1 a.m., she came back. Do you see her yet? He's standing behind your car. Don't look in the mirror. I started ignoring it. Didn't answer. Didn't react. But she never stopped. It all changed the night. I responded to the silent alarm at the old textile warehouse out near the tracks. No backup. Everyone else was tied up with a multi-vehicle pileup. I pulled up, did the usual sweep. No signs of forced entry. Front door locked. Back door unlocked, but nothing broken. I stepped inside, flashlight on. Gun holstered. The air was thick, dusty. Smelled like insulation and rain rot. I called it in, and that's when she answered again. Unit 2 to 9. Proceed to the 3rd floor. Except this time, it came through my official channel. Clear, authoritative, like a real dispatch call. Even the signal beat matched. I paused. Confirming dispatch, you want me to search the 3rd floor? Silence. Then the real dispatcher chimed in, confused. 2 to 9 negative. You're not logged at that address. Where are you right now? I backed out of the building. Fast. Next day. I checked the call logs. There was no record of that voice, but there was an outbound ping from my unit logged. At 1:06 a.m. a ping I didn't send. Coordinates? The exact center of the 3rd floor of that warehouse. That's when I started keeping the radio off after midnight. But even off, sometimes I'd hear her voice through it. Quiet. Under the static. I used to wear your badge. After the warehouse, I started driving the long way around. No more shortcuts through the industrial zones. No more sitting still in dark lots after 1. But the voice, she didn't need the radio. Any more. She started speaking through other things. The speakers in my cruiser would click on with no prompt, just static. Then her voice, stop pretending you don't hear me. I unplugged the mic, turned the whole console off. Didn't matter. She still got in. One night I pulled up to a scene. Simple B&E call. Kid broke into an old pawn shop. He was sitting out front when I got there, hands up, pale and shaking. But he wasn't scared of me. He kept looking past me, into the cruiser. And when I cuffed him, he whispered, she was talking to me. From your car. The captain pulled me into his office later that week, asked if I'd been hearing things. He was careful about it. Polite. Said another officer filed a report. Apparently, I'd been responding to voices that weren't there. I tried to explain. I told him the truth about the strange calls, the false commands, the woman who knew things no one else should. He gave me the look. You know the one. The soft nod, the note-taking, the let's get you some time off energy. Said I was probably just overworked. Grief maybe. I hadn't lost anyone recently, but I didn't argue. I just said, okay, because I didn't want to be the next one who resigned suddenly. Or went off the grid. Like Reed. Reed was a dispatcher. Worked nights like me. Reliable, sharp, always on the ... Last year, he stopped showing up. No call. No note. Just gone. They said he probably cracked. Moved out west. But I remembered something. The night before his last shift, I was on patrol, and I heard him on the channel. Panicked. Saying something like, "It's not my voice anymore. They're using my voice." A week after my suspension, I was driving to the grocery store, and my phone started ringing. Unknown number. I answered. Dead silence. Then that soft breath. That familiar tone. "I found your house." That night, I smashed the cruiser radio. Took a hammer to it. Didn't matter. She used the baby monitor next. I don't even have kids. I don't know where the monitor came from. It was just in my house, crackling from the kitchen counter. "Someone else has your shift now." I tried to track it back. I dug into old call logs, old dispatcher records, even looked up Reed's last known address. When I got there, it was boarded up, abandoned. But in the mailbox was a note. Red pen. All caps, "Stay off the channel." Taped to it was a faded photo of a dispatch center. Half the faces were blurred out, one face in focus. Her. I don't know how I knew it was her, the woman behind the voice, but I did. She wasn't smiling, but everyone else in the photo was too wide, too still, like someone else had taught them how. That night, I didn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw switchboards light up, maps. Red dots moving on roads that didn't exist anymore. And her voice. Always her voice. "You can't leave. You're still on shift." I don't work patrol now, but she still calls. Every night at 1:04 a.m. I hear the radio click on, even though I keep it locked in a drawer. And I swear to you, last night, my wife answered it, just leaned over in bed, half asleep, and said, "Unit 2 to 9, go ahead." We found her in a locked shed behind an abandoned farmhouse. Middle of nowhere. No neighbors, no lights, no cell service. Just flat land, overgrown fields, and a wind that never stopped moving. The call came through dispatch at 1:37. A .m, unlisted number. No caller ID. All they said was, "She's still in the shed." Then silence. I didn't want to go. Not alone. So I called Ramirez. She was just getting off shift, but she came anyway. Said she had a bad feeling about it. The property was 20, maybe 30 minutes outside town. Last listed as foreclosed 3 years ago. The kind of place people meant to bulldoze and forgot about. We pulled up just before 2:30. I killed the headlights. The entire lot looked off, like it had been abandoned decades ago, but somehow still remembered people had once lived there. The house had no roof, porch rotting into the ground, windows blown out, but out back, past the overgrown swing set and rusted dog run, was a small, weather-beaten shed, paint peeling. Door bolted. And tracks in the mud. Fresh ones, boot prints, and smaller ones, barefoot. A child's. Ramirez called it in, but our radios were already crackling. No signal. We moved in with flashlights, slow and careful. The shed's padlock was rusted through, but new scratches lined the metal like someone had been trying to get in, or I popped it with the crowbar. The hinges groaned. We both stepped back instinctively. Then I swung the door open. She was just sitting there. In the middle of the dirt floor, legs folded, hands in her lap. Barefoot. Hair tangled and greasy, eyes wide open and calm. No flinch, no scream. Just watching, like she'd been waiting for us. "Jesus," Ramirez muttered. "Hey," I said gently. "You okay, sweetheart?" She didn't speak at first. Just tilted her head, as if she was listening for something far away. Then softly, "You're too early." We brought her out. She didn't resist. Walked barefoot across the grass like it didn't bother her at all. Sat in the back of the cruiser, wrapped in a blanket. She looked maybe 11. Skin pale, like she hadn't seen sun in weeks, but she didn't act scared. Didn't cry. When we gave her water, she drank. When we asked her name, she said nothing, just sat there humming to herself. Dispatch came back online as we pulled onto the main road. I told them what we found. No injuries, no signs of assault, but a girl who matched no known missing persons report. That's when they asked for her name. I glanced in the mirror. "Sweetheart, can you tell us your name?" She paused her humming. Then I gave it away. Ramirez shot me a look. I didn't say anything. We got her back to the station just before 4:04 p.s. Sent a rep to meet us. The girl never asked where she was going. Before they took her, I knelt beside her and asked again, "Is there anything else we should know about the shed?" She looked me dead in the eye and whispered, "It's only safe when it's loud." I didn't sleep that day. Kept thinking about what she said. Too early. Gave her name away. Only safe when it's loud. What did that even mean? I should have left it, but I COULDN single quotes T. 2 days later, I went back. Didn't tell Ramirez. Didn't log it. Just drove. I told myself it was about closing the loop, making sure nothing was left behind. The shed was exactly how we left it. Padlock still broken. Door closed, but the ground around it looked disturbed, like something had been dragged through the mud. I stepped inside. No one there. But the smell hit me instantly. Wet metal and rotting wood. And the cold. It wasn't outside cold. It was underground cold. Like standing in a basement with no windows. And in the center of the floor, a small circle carved into the dirt. Just big enough for someone to sit in cross-legged. All around it, scratched into the wood of the walls, the floor, the inside of the door. One word, over and over again. Elodeur dr. That night, I started hearing clicks over my radio. Just past midnight. No one speaking. Just clicks. 1. Then 3. Then 5. Always in odd numbers. At 3:16 a.m. The voice came back. Not over the radio this time. Over my baby monitor. I don't even have a kid. I had no idea I had a monitor plugged in until it lit up and hissed in the dark. Then, it's quiet again. I unplugged the monitor. Threw it in the trash. Didn't matter. At exactly 3:16 a.m. every night after that, I'd hear her voice. Not in my dreams. Wide awake. Whispers in the static. A low hum coming from inside the walls. It's quiet again. I went back to the department the next day. Pulled everything I could find on that farmhouse. Owner foreclosed. No history of arrests. Property hadn't been accessed officially in years, but one report caught my eye. 4 years ago, a noise complaint was filed out there. Neighbors said they heard screaming and banging for hours. When the deputy showed up, he logged the property as empty. Nothing to report. He's retired now. I called him personally. He didn't want to talk. When I finally got him on the phone, he only said one thing before hanging up. "If you open the shed, it's too late." I tracked down the CPS worker who picked the girl up. She transferred the next day. No explanation. Left the job entirely. Her voicemail was full. Number disconnected a week later. And the girl? The file was gone. No transfer paperwork. No shelter record. Like she never existed. A week later, Ramirez went missing. Just gone. Didn't show up for shift. I went to her apartment. Door locked. No sign of forced entry. The TV was on static. And in the middle of the living room. Carved into the coffee table. Silence lets him through. I've started sleeping with music on. Not just headphones. Speakers in every room. White noise machines. Old radios tuned between stations. Because I've figured something out. It's not just the shed that needs noise. It's me. As long as it's loud. He doesn't move. But when it's quiet, I start seeing things. Dark shapes in the hallway. A girl's shadow in the mirror. Just standing there. mouthing something I can't hear. And sometimes when I wake up, I find footprints in my carpet. Small, barefoot. Leading from the front door to the corner of my bedroom. 2 nights ago, I found a scrap of paper under my pillow, same handwriting as before. Same red ink. It said, "You brought her out. Now she brings him in." Last night, I tried going back to the shed, tried sealing it up again. I brought chains, nails, boards, but the shed wasn't there. The whole thing, gone. Just a flat patch of ground. No circle, no structure, but the dirt was still warm, like someone had just been sitting in it. When I got back to my car, my radio was already on. Nobody touched it. It was just playing. The girl's voice, clear, unbroken. "Don't let it get quiet. Don't let it get quiet. Don't let it." Then silence. And then something else. A deep inhale. Not a voice. Not breathing, like something big waking up. Something that had been sleeping inside the frequency. I haven't been back to work. Haven't turned the radio on in days, but every night at 3:16 a.m., something in my house starts buzzing. The TV, the microwave. The old alarm clock in my closet that hasn't worked since college. And I hear her voice again, fainter now. "You weren't supposed to open it." I don't know what I released. I don't know if it followed her, or if she wasn't even human to begin with. All I know is that now, something is waiting, and if things ever go fully silent, if I ever run out of noise, I think I'll finally hear the rest of his voice. The first time I saw her, she was standing just behind the broken glass of the bell tower, not moving, not swaying, just still. It was 3:12 a.m. and I was on my usual campus patrol. I'd parked behind the South Library to stretch my legs and maybe sneak a quick cigarette. That's when I looked up. She was just there. 4th story, top of the old bell tower. No lights, no movement, just this faint outline of someone. A girl, standing with her arms at her sides, head slightly down like she was deciding whether to jump. But the longer I stared, the more I realized she wasn't moving at all. Not like someone afraid to fall, more like someone who already had. I radioed it in immediately. Asked dispatch to confirm if anyone had access to the tower. They said it had been sealed, off for years, padlocked, alarmed. Nobody was cleared to be up there. I told them I was going up anyway. Stupid, probably. Should have waited for backup. But I couldn't shake the way she was just watching. Not waving. Not crying. Just watching. The inside of the tower was worse than I expected. I had to force the ground level. Door open, the padlock was snapped, but still hanging off the handle like someone wanted to make it look secure from the outside. Inside it smelled like mold, wet wood, and dead birds. The stairs groaned with every step. My flashlight beam kept catching on dust motes and spider webs. The air felt heavy, thick, like it was pressing back against me. By the 3rd flight, I could hear the bell above me, this deep, low metallic creak, like something was shifting even though there wasn't wind. Then I reached the landing. Room was empty, but the bell was swinging, just slightly, and right beneath it, the floor was scraped in a perfect circle, like someone had been pacing in a tight loop. Over and over. No girl. No footprints. Nothing. Back at my cruiser, I sat in silence for a long time. I didn't log what I saw. Not really. Just mentioned a possible trespasser and a broken padlock. Filed it quiet. Told myself it was a trick of the light. I wanted to believe that. But then the dreams started. Every night that week, I had the same dream. I was in the tower again. At the top. Except now the bell was gone. Just an open hole in the ceiling. And a rope hanging from it. Swinging gently. And she was there, sitting on the edge of the window. Bare feet. Hair soaked like she'd been caught in the rain. She wouldn't look at me. Just stared out into the night like she couldn't see anything but fog. And every time I tried to speak, I'd wake up gasping. I started avoiding that part of campus. Didn't drive past it. Didn't walk near it. Even moved my lunch breaks to the other end of the quad. But she didn't care, because the next time I saw her, she wasn't in the tower. She was in my rearview mirror. It was 3:14 a.m. I'd just finished clearing a parking lot behind the science building. When I got back into the cruiser, I saw her reflection behind me. Standing in the back seat, leaning forward, just slightly, head tilted at that same off angle, hair hanging ropes. Eyes open, wide. But when I turned, nobody. Seat was empty. I didn't sleep that night. Didn't go home either. Just drove in circles until the sun came up. Tried not to tell anyone. Didn't want to sound like I was cracking, but something was happening. Something real, and it wasn't just me. A week later, Officer Danvers pulled me aside. He was one of the older guys, almost ready to retire. Said, "You been seeing her?" I didn't answer at first. He just nodded like that was enough. "She's part of the job now," he said. "Always shows up around this time of year." I asked who she was. Danvers looked me dead in the eye. "Alina Brody," he said. "Junior. Took her own life in that tower in '03. Tied the bell rope around her neck and stepped off the ledge." I swallowed hard. "They told me it was sealed after that." "Was," he shrugged. "Then someone broke in 6 months later. Then again a year after that. Always during fall semester. Always in the middle of the night." I asked, "Why the fall?" Danvers took a beat, then said, "Because that's when the bell starts swinging on its own." I tried not to believe him, tried harder not to go back, but then she started showing up, earlier. Not just 3:12 a.m. one night. I caught her at 2:40, just standing under a floodlight outside the admin building. No one else saw her, but the light above her flickered like crazy. I called it. In maintenance came out the next morning. Said there was nothing wrong with the wiring. I finally checked the archived reports myself. Found the official incident file for Alina Brody, cause of death, asphyxiation due to hanging. Time of discovery, 3:12. A M. Witness statement said they heard the bell ring once, and then nothing. But here's what got me in the crime scene photos. There was a handprint smeared in dust across the bell's interior wall. Not hers. 2. Small. Too fresh. Like someone else was already up there, waiting. I printed that photo. Kept it in my cruiser. Just to remind myself. This was real. Not some breakdown, not sleep deprivation. But the next night I went to grab it. It was gone, and in its place was a different photo. Polaroid. Taken from the ground, looking up at the tower, and in the window. She was there. Same position, same tilt of the head. But this time, she was smiling. After the Polaroid showed up in my cruiser, something in me snapped. Not fear, not disbelief, just this cold, sinking certainty that whatever was happening wasn't going to stop on its own. I drove straight to the tower that night. Didn't call it in. Didn't even bring backup. I parked facing the quad. Engine running. Windows cracked. The campus was dead silent except for the faint hum of the floodlights and the rustle of late autumn leaves blowing across pavement. The bell tower stood like a black silhouette against the sky. No wind, no movement. But the longer I stared, the more I felt like something inside it was awake. Waiting. I checked my watch. 3:07 a.m., 5 minutes until the time she always appeared. The air felt wrong, too cold, too heavy. It pressed against my skin like the moment before a thunderstorm. I stepped out of the cruiser and my breath fogged instantly. Even though it wasn't that cold out, every instinct told me to get back in the car, to leave it alone, to forget the Polaroid, the reflections, the bell. But I walked toward the tower anyway. The closer I got, the more the air changed. Sound seemed to fall away in layers. First the hum of the lights, then the distant vents from the science building, then even the sound of my own footsteps. At the base of the tower, everything was silent. Like true silent. Like underwater silent. I put my hand on the door. It was slightly warm. That made no sense. I pushed it open. It wasn't locked this time. Not broken either. Just unlocked. Waiting for me. Inside. The air smelled different than last time. Warmer. Damp. Almost. Like someone had been breathing heavily in a closed space. My flashlight flickered as I started up the stairs. Each step groaned under my weight. The stairs felt older than they had any right to be. Like they'd been used for 50 years straight. Not sealed off for the last 20. By the second flight, I could hear something above me. Not movement. Not footsteps. Breathing. Slow. Wet. Labored. Like someone struggling to stay alive. Or struggling not to be alive anymore. When I reached the landing, the breathing stopped. I shined my light around. Dust. Rotted boards. The faint imprint of the circle in the floor where she'd paced in my dreams. The rope still dangling from the ceiling. The frayed edge of it waving slightly, even with the still air. And then the bell creaked. Not a swing. Just a subtle shift, metal groaning under weight. Something was touching it. I stepped closer, slow, breathing. Through my nose because the air smelled like mildew and copper. My light landed on the far corner, and that's when I saw her. Sitting with her back to me. Long hair matted and wet, clinging to her shoulders. Clothes dripping like she'd been dragged from a river. Feet pale, toes curled slightly in the dust. Same girl from the Polaroid. Same girl I'd seen standing at the window. She didn't turn when I said softly, "Alina?" But she nodded. Just once. A slow, unnatural tilt. I swallowed hard, throat burning. I didn't know what to say. What do you say to someone who died 20 years ago? Someone who keeps appearing like she never left. What do you want? I finally asked. She lifted her head at that. Slowly, her hair shifted. Wet strands peeled from her neck with this sticky sound, and her voice, when it came, was barely a whisper. Not sad, not angry. Just empty. Don't let him ring the bell. I stepped back. Who? She didn't answer. Instead, she pointed. One shaking hand. Toward the rope. I followed her gesture with my eyes. My brain didn't quite process it at first. Then my skin went cold. Someone was holding the rope. A hand, pale, too pale, wrapped around it. Knuckles protruding sharply. Skin almost translucent. And the rope. It tightened. Just slightly, like someone was getting ready to pull. "Hey!" I yelled, flashlight darting to the figure. There was no figure. Only the hand. Just the hand gripping the rope, coming out of nothing. No arm. No body. No shadow. Then the bell groaned again. A long, vibrating sound that filled the entire room. Alina covered her ears, and the hand started to pull. I rushed forward without thinking. I don't know what I planned to do. Maybe rip it away, maybe cut the rope. But before I reached it, the bell tower changed. I don't know how else to explain it, except it felt like the air folded. Like the tower inverted for a half second and everything stretched. A blast of cold hit me so hard my vision blurred. And then, the hand was gone. The rope swung freely. Alina was gone too. Just me. And the sound of the bell, still swaying overhead. Legs refusing to move. The silhouette inside looked like a person sitting stiffly, staring forward. No breathing. No shifting. Just still, like a pose. It was around 2:45 a.m. when I saw it. The old Crown Vic. Black. No plates. No decals. No light bar. Just that unmistakable shape, barely visible in the rearview. It was maybe 3 car lengths behind me. Highway was empty. Just me and this ghost of a patrol car hugging the dark stretch of I-94. I changed lanes. It followed. I sped up. So did it, but it didn't make a move to pass. Didn't fall back either. It just stuck there, like it was tailing me, like it was watching. I radioed dispatch. Unit 622 requesting tag check. Late model Crown Vic behind me. No plates. No visible agency markings. They came back fast. No units reported in your vicinity. Closest backup is 12 miles out. You want to pull over and observe? No, I said, a little too quickly. Just keep the channel open. I took the next exit. Rural side road. No lights. No traffic. The Vic followed, every turn, every swerve. And that's when I noticed something that made my skin crawl. It wasn't just behind me. It was perfectly behind me. Like mirrored movement. When I turned, it turned with the same tire angle. When I braked, its headlights dimmed at the exact same moment. Not delayed. Not cautious. Synced. Like it knew what I was going to do before I did it. Pulled off onto a gravel service lane next to a soybean field. Killed my lights. The Vic didn't stop, just passed me slowly. No driver. I leaned forward, trying to get a better look, but the inside was pitch black. Even with my high beams flashing against it, I couldn't see the dash. And as it crept past, I swear the front bumper was the exact same as the one on my old patrol unit. Down to the scraped paint on the left side. That's when something clicked in my brain. Was the same car. The same Crown Vic my FTO, Officer Harris, used to drive. Back when I was a rookie. Harris had died 5 years ago. Heart attack. Died at the wheel pulling into the precinct. The car was retired, junked, and scrapped for parts. I know because I signed the decommission paperwork myself. So how the hell was it back on the road? I tried to follow it. Turned on my lights, swung around, accelerated hard, but it was gone. Not turned. Not ditched. Just vanished. Like it had never been there. Back at the station, I didn't file the report. What would I say? Chased a ghost car through rural Michigan? But the next night, I saw it again. Same time. Same stretch of highway. And this time, it was parked on the shoulder, facing the wrong direction. Like it had been waiting for me. I slowed. Rolled past it with my window down. No sound. No engine. But I felt something. A wave of heat. Not warm, hot, like standing too close to a running engine. And as I passed, my radio clicked on. Dead channel. No one else broadcasting. Then, through static, you left the lights on. I slammed the brakes. Jumped out. The Vic was gone. No taillights. No tire marks. Just dust settling. I looked back at my cruiser and froze. My roof lights, which I hadn't turned on, were pulsing. Blue and red. Slow and steady. Like I just made a traffic stop that night. I went home and dug through my old files. Found Harris. Decommission report. The vein was scratched out in red ink. No initials. No explanation. I checked department records. The salvage yard that picked it up went out of business 2 months after the pickup. No forwarding address. And the strangest thing? The Vic was never removed from the fleet roster. Still listed under inactive patrol inventory. Assigned to Harris. Active status. Pending deployment. I thought I was losing it. Until Officer Webb guy from night shift caught me before roll call. He pulled me aside and said, "Hey, you ever seen an old Crown Vic out past Route 12? I stared at him. He nodded. Yeah, thought so. I asked if he'd gotten a plate. He said, didn't need one. It was my old unit. I totaled that car in 2019, and it still had the dent from the crash. After Webb told me what he saw, neither of us filed a report. What would we even write? Haunted Crown Vic reappears on rural roads, mimicking patrol units and tailing night shift officers. But we weren't the only ones. 2 nights later, dispatch asked if I could swing by an abandoned rest stop off Route 12. Caller reported a police cruiser idling in the lot for over an hour. Engine running. Lights off. Driver unresponsive. I asked what kind of cruiser. Dispatch said, Older model. Crown Vic. Probably campus police. Campus police ditched Crown Vics 8 years ago. My stomach dropped. I didn't tell dispatch what I suspected. I just went. The rest stop was empty. Lights flickering overhead. Dead vending machines humming like broken choir voices. And there it was. A black Crown Vic, facing the exit. Engine rumbling softly. Fog swirling around the headlights even though the night was dry. And the license plate? No plate. Just a rusted bracket. I approached from the rear. My flashlight reflected off the back window. The tint was dark enough to hide everything inside. And the closer I got, the more I felt that same heat again, like the engine was overheating. But the hood felt ice cold when I checked it. Something inside the car shifted. A silhouette leaned forward. I drew my weapon. "Show me your hands." Nothing. I edged closer. Opened the driver's door, and the interior was empty. Not empty like no one inside. Empty like no seats. No dash, no steering wheel. Nothing but a void of pitch black space, like the inside of the car was just gone. A hollow shell. My breath hitched. I backed away slow. The door slammed shut on its own. And then, for the first time, the engine growled back to life. I ran to my cruiser. Locked the doors. Slammed the shifter into reverse. And the Vic pulled out exactly as I did. Mirrored me. Perfectly. I floored it. Gravel sprayed behind me. The Vic accelerated too. Faster. Too fast for a car that old. Like it wasn't running on an engine at all. Like it was gliding over the pavement. My radio lit up with static. Then a voice. A man's voice. Rough, familiar. "Don't run from your unit." I froze. It sounded like Harris. My old FTO. Dead 5 years. The Vic's headlights flared white hot. And suddenly the whole highway was brighter than day. I swerved onto the shoulder. The lights cut out. When my eyes adjusted, the Vic was gone. Just an empty road stretching into darkness. I went back to the station shaking. Webb saw me and didn't even ask. He just nodded like he'd been expecting it. "There's more of them now," he said quietly. 2 were spotted outside the precinct last week. Someone said they saw one in the employee lot. I asked him how many officers had reported similar sightings. He said, "Every one of us who trained under a dead partner." I felt sick. Harris, Webb's old partner. 2 others from long shifts and small funerals. All gone. All buried with their badge and their last assigned unit still in records. Archived but never deleted. Almost like the department wasn't done with them. Or they weren't done with the department. A few nights later, everything clicked into place. And not in a good way. I was driving home from shift. Exhausted, half alive when the radio crackled. "Unit 6-2. Respond." It was Harris' voice again, unmistakable, calm, steady. The exact tone he used when I was a rookie and breaking down after my first bad call. I grabbed the mic before I could think. "Harris?" Silence. Then, "You left someone behind." The mic fell out of my hand. I almost ran the cruiser into the guardrail. I hadn't left anyone behind. Not recently. Not ever. But then I remembered something. A year before Harris died, we'd stopped to help a stranded car on an icy road. Man slumped over the wheel. No pulse. EMTs pronounced him dead. Later, the coroner found he wasn't dead yet. Just shallow. HYPOTHERMIC. We could have saved him. We didn't know. We assumed. We left early because another call came through. Harris never talked about it again. He retired early after that. Said he needed a break. And a year later, he died of a heart attack. Alone in that same car, I felt cold. I whispered, "Harris, what do you want?" And the radio replied, "A ride home." Then all the lights on my dashboard turned off. The engine cut. The car coasted to a stop on an empty stretch of field-lined road. I tried the ignition. Dead. Tried the lights. Dead. Tried the radio. It clicked on by itself. And the Crown Vic rolled out of the darkness ahead of M. Slow, silent, gliding like it didn't weigh anything. It stopped nose to nose with my cruiser. I couldn't breathe. The headlights burned white, then flickered. Something moved behind the wheel, a silhouette. Slumped, not breathing. It lifted its head, and I saw Harris. Face, pale, stiff, jaw hanging slightly open like a puppet's. He wasn't alive. Not even close, but his eyes moved. Followed me, and when his mouth opened, the voice that came out was not his. Not really, get in. I threw the cruiser into reverse and floored it. Didn't care where I was going. Didn't look back except to make sure the Vic wasn't inches from my bumper. But when I finally reached the main road, breathing hard, there it was. Parked behind me again. Perfect distance. Perfect alignment. Perfect copy of every move. Waiting. I didn't go home. Didn't go to the station. I drove to the scrapyard where old patrol cars were destroyed. I needed proof. Needed answers. The yard manager remembered Harris unit. Remembered me filing the paperwork. I told him I needed to see the records. He said the yard had a fire 2 years ago. All logs destroyed. But then he said something that made my blood run cold. That Crown Vic of yours? The one you're asking about? Never made it here. What do you mean? He shrugged. Tow company marked it vehicle retrieved by department. Department picked it up again? No, he said. Someone pretending to be the department. I left and drove until sunrise. The Vic didn't appear again that night. Or the next, but every so often, when I'm pulling out of the lot, I see something at the far end of the fence. A pair of headlights. Low. Square. The exact shape of a Crown Vic. You never really get used to the sound of the cooler doors opening. That thick rubber seal peeling back. The steel hinges groaning like they haven't moved in years. It's a heavy sound, like the room itself resents you for disturbing it. It was just past 3 a.m. when it happened the first time. I was the only tech on shift. County morgue, 6 body capacity. All full that week. It had been a rough few days. 1 overdose, 2 car wrecks, 1 gunshot. And 1 DOA from an abandoned house fire. No ID, no known cause of death. No medical record hit. That last one was in drawer 6, the drawer that opened on its own. I was filling out chain of custody logs when I heard it. A soft, drawn-out SHHHKK. Not loud. Just enough to cut through the buzz of the fluorescence. I looked up from my clipboard. Drawer 6 was open 6 inches. No one else had been in the room for hours. I stood there for a second, not moving. I told myself it could have been pressure release. Bad seal. Maybe the hinges had slipped, but I'd closed that drawer myself. Logged it, locked it. I walked over, hesitated, then slowly pushed it shut again. The seal clunked tight. I even double-checked the locking. Pin.solid.didn single quotes D. Think about it again. That night. Not until the next shift. Next night. Around the same time, 3:06 a.m., I was reviewing the week's logs when the radio crackled. Not the emergency band. Not even dispatch. Just static from the corner of the room. We don't keep radios on down there, but I heard it. And when I followed the sound, I realized something that made my throat go dry. The sound was coming from the cold room speaker, the one mounted above the drawers, the one that's never turned on. And through the static, faint and wet and wrong, I heard something that almost sounded like a whisper. Help. I shut the speaker off, or tried to. The switch was already off. No power going to it. At least not from us. The next night, I started keeping a log. Every time the drawer moved, every time the speaker made a sound. Drawer 6 opened again at 3:12 a.m. wider this time. Maybe 8 inches. The body inside, the unidentified fire victim, hadn't moved. Still covered. Still tagged, but the tag looked wet, like someone had breathed condensation across the inside of the drawer. I wiped it off and shut it again. Didn't mention it in the report. Didn't tell the day tech either. Not yet. 3 days later, I got a message from facilities. Maintenance guy said someone had been playing with the drawer intercoms. Said the wires had been moved, but we don't have drawer intercoms. That was phased out a decade ago. I told him he was mistaken. He emailed back a photo. Behind drawer 6, embedded in the concrete wall, was a speaker grill and an old mic wire, frayed and blackened, like it had been cooked in a fire. I asked how it could have been missed during renovations. He said it was behind the wall, sealed off. Panel looked original. We only found it because of the static reading on the line. The body in drawer 6 hadn't been identified. Male, mid-30s, burned over 60% of his body. No dental, but here's the thing. There was no soot in his lungs. No smoke damage. No inhalation injuries at all. Meaning he didn't die in the fire. He was already dead when it started. Or he died somewhere else. Later that shift, I stepped away to use the bathroom. Was gone maybe 5 minutes. When I came back, the lights in the cooler were flickering. Drawer 6 was fully open. The sheet covering the body was on the floor. And the cadaver was gone. I froze, tried to rationalize. Maybe another tech came in and moved him? But the sign-in log was blank. Door hadn't opened. No security alert. And then I saw the security cam monitor blinking. The feed for the cooler was static. All the other cameras were fine, but the cooler cam, the one pointed at drawer 6, was completely dead. I ran a full sweep. Did a body count? All 6 accounted for, but drawer 6 now held a different body. Same toe tag number, same time of death, same burn report, but it wasn't the same face. This one had eyes open, mouth open, like he'd been trying to scream. I called the coroner, told her something was wrong with drawer 6. She said that drawer wasn't on the inventory anymore. I said it had to be. I just seen it. Just counted 6, she said. We only log 5 now. Cooler 6 was sealed after the incident. I asked what incident. There was a long pause. Then she said, check the old files. 2011. See if the static starts making sense. And she hung up. Back at my desk, I pulled the archives. Morgue flood. 2011. A technician named Brooks was found dead inside the cooler. Headphones still in. He'd been listening to his scanner feed for fun. Said the last thing he wrote on his clipboard, and I quote, was, "He's whispering through the static now." I read that incident report at least 4 times. 2011. Tech named Marcus Brooks, 27, found unresponsive in the cooler. Slumped against drawer 6. Cause of death, cardiac arrest. But no history of heart problems. No trauma. The weird part wasn't just how he died, it was what was written. Last line in his own handwriting. Circled in pen over and over. He's whispering through the static now. Right above that, he had scrawled 2 words, one on top of the other. It's not him. I couldn't stop shaking after that. Drawer 6 wasn't just giving off bad vibes, there was a pattern. Whatever had happened to Brooks, it wasn't over, and I don't know why. But I felt like I was next. The following night, I stayed out of the cooler as long as I could. Stuck to the paperwork. Watched the monitor from the safety of the front office, but at exactly 3:06 a.m., the static started again. Same speaker. Same low, crackling whisper. I turned up the volume, and this time, I heard my name not once. Not whispered gently. It snapped through the static like a shout behind a closed door. Dan. Short, sharp, like it was angry I hadn't come back sooner. I grabbed the hallway keys and opened the cooler door with my phone recording. Just in case. Drawer 6 was open. Again. But this time, there was no body. Not even a sheet, just an empty slab. and inside, on the steel surface, someone had written something in condensation. Answer the call. Then the lights went out. The whole cooler dropped into pitch black silence. Except it wasn't totally silent, because from somewhere behind me, inside that pitch dark, I heard something breathing. Wet, rattling, like lungs full of water. I didn't dare move. Didn't even turn, until I felt the temperature rise, that unnatural heat I'd felt near the drawer before. It was pouring out of the walls now. And beneath the hum of electricity failing to engage, I heard something else, a faint radio click and a voice, just 3 words, "It's your shift." I bolted, slammed through the cooler door, out into the hallway, into the front office. The speaker system popped and cut out. Monitors dead, but my phone? Still recording. I played it back right away. No voice. No static. Just silence. Except, right at the end, as I was backing away from the cooler, you can hear a second pair of footsteps. Not echoes, someone walking toward me, even though I was the only person down there. I tried reporting it, tried sending the footage. When I plugged my phone into the desktop to back it up, everything wiped, the whole file folder gone, and my phone never turned on again after that. Battery dead, permanently. Tech said it looked like the phone got exposed to heat high enough to cook the internal memory. No explanation. That night, I went back to drawer 6. Had to, brought a crowbar, told myself I'd seal it shut once and for all. But when I got there, someone had already written across the face of the drawer in thick red marker, "The signal isn't coming from here." I backed away. That's when I noticed something behind the drawer I hadn't seen before. A small service panel, bolted to the wall. No label. I pried it open with the crowbar and found a coiled cable, attached to a buried speaker line, not part of the morgue's internal system. Something older. Something that shouldn't be live. I followed it along the wall, through a series of hidden brackets, until it connected to a rusted junction box, stamped with a long-dead department's logo. Emergency Civil Communications, 1964. That speaker hadn't been picking up local static. It was pulling signal from somewhere else. I shut off the power to the whole wing that night, breaker by breaker, just to kill whatever that junction box was connected to. The static stopped, for a while. A week passed. No movement. Drawer 6 stayed closed. No voices. No lights. I thought it was done. Until last night. I got home just before 4 a.m., collapsed on the couch with a beer and a half-charged phone. Dead quiet. And then from my bedroom, I heard a faint hiss of radio static, like someone had turned on a scanner or a baby monitor. I don't know neither. I got up, walked into the room, and saw my TV on. No input. Just black screen and snow. The volume turned all the way down, but I could still hear it. And then, right through the hiss, that voice, clear this time. "Dan, clock in." I ripped the plug out of the wall. No change. The screen flickered, like something behind the snow was trying to come into focus. Then the power died completely, and across the black screen, one word etched itself in pale red lines: shift. I haven't slept since. Haven't gone back to work. But here's the thing. It's not just the cooler now. Not just the drawer. It's followed me home. Every speaker, every screen. Anything that can transmit a signal, even faintly, carries the chance of him breaking through. I finally asked an old supervisor about drawer 6. He didn't say much. Just this: that drawer was never part of the system. It was added later, after the fire, after the frequency started bleeding in. What frequency? I asked. He just looked at me and said, "The one that only dead people know."